Ladies and gentlemen, the Sherlock Holmes Book Nook, and last I left off, I basically got it pretty much all assembled, and I am down to the little things, little details to add to it, plus the figures, which I'll do last. But one thing I did change on the Book Nook, and that's the outside on the sides. I added a Sherlock Holmes and Other Stories book cover. Printed that out, cut it, and cut it to fit. And this way it hides the mounting holes, and it gives it I won't say a generic Sherlock Holmes book. And on the other side I added my favorite, Sherlock Holmes versus Dracula. I thought gives it more flavor. And also with the Book Nook, if you wanted to stick this between model kits, you still have the inside, or if you want to put it, books, you can still see the inside, but if you want a standalone piece, at least you got something on either side to show, which is one thing I like about the Book Nooks. So I'm down to the little details, and I started adding the books that go on the sides here, and the instructions called for like 3 books each. I went with 2, and I didn't put them in there neatly. I wanted them, like they were kind of pulled or just put back. You know how people are, not put them back Mr. Monk style, all perfect and neat. They got to be a little crooked. One thing, I added the globe stand in the back, and I cut the globe off, and we'll get to that in just a moment. And I went ahead and put the table in. Kind of one of those, especially the globe bracket back there, I kind of wish I could have done that last, but I didn't. We always like to make it hard around here. The table, you notice it's got 2 holes. It's supposed to have 2 brackets that come up, and you're supposed to put a open book like that. That's kind of cool, but I really didn't want to. I really didn't want that. It kind of looks out of place to me. So you do get extra books, and I want to do, if I can, something like that to hide the holes. I want to do some stacking books. Just to, like Watson and Holmes were researching, digging out literature. And I'm also down to adding the ladder. I got a little step stool and a little book holder that goes on the 2nd floor. And of course we'll put the figures. So I'm working on the globe there. And the globe, this is probably a better picture. Globe's pretty big. That's one of them, I call them gigantic big globes. The kit one comes, and you probably might be able to see it, but you can see the, that's the kit version. I know it's supposed to be a wood kit, and it is 3-dimensional, but not either. But you can see the continents on there. And I was like, man, I was trying to figure out, I could either fill this in or sculpt one out of epoxy sculpt, or find me a little ball of some nature. And I was like, what about the Mr. 3D printer? And I am an amateur 3D printer now. And they had a globe on the free files to print. They had a globe. And again, I am an amateur. I am learning how to do this. I learned that these are 2 separate files, the upper and the lower, and you can put them on the same bed and print them at the same time. I did not know that. That was something new to me. I know everyone's probably like, Mr. Hare, you can do a lot. You can do more, which I'll probably figure out later on. But anyway, that was amazing at that time. But anyway, so I printed out a globe. The globe it's right at 32nd scale, maybe a little bit bigger, but I'm going to go with it. To get Mr. Watson here, he's handy. It's pretty close, size-wise. Yeah, I can't get my finger in. But it's pretty close, especially on the stand in there. So it'd probably be a little taller, but the stand, I kind of wish I would have cut it more out, but when I was fighting it, getting it in, and once it got glue set, that was it. So if I can put in Mr. Glue. No, of course not. Well, anyway. Be something like that in there. And it's more of a, looks better than the kit one and 3D printed. So this thing will have maybe more, but at least three 3D printed things: the two figures and the globe itself. And the globe turned out pretty well. It's got all the continents on there. So and plus it'll be a little bit smaller once you get paint on it too. You know, it's just the contrast of the gray and the brown. So that is where I'm at, ladies and gentlemen, on the Book Nook. So hopefully get a little more details in there, start the figures, and probably add very little extra to it. Just trying to keep it simple, but trying to keep it balanced, if that makes sense, of the Sherlock Holmes book. But anyway, that's what I got going on today, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for the next exciting episode.